has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
I mean, at some level, Carver High, you have to think that, relatively speaking, I have that almost down to a science. I mean, that's a hell of a 2-minute run to get, like, in my health and age and condition. Thank God I play basketball 5 days a week because I just got it done in 2 minutes flat. I was in, out, and then I had, Boston was trying to pull an angle on me. He wanted to go out. I was like, you're not going anywhere, dude. You got to hold it. You got another hour to hold it. I'm going to get this thing done right now, and you just stay out of my way. Boom, back down on the air, live, right here. Getting it done. Getting involved, Carver High.
You made it happen, in and out, and you were back and ready to go. Final hour for us here on C2C. We have a lot to do during that hour. Just a couple of other NFL things before I move on. Number one, for the first time in 33 games.
Come on.
That's over a few years. The Carolina Panthers are favored in a football game. That's right. They have Dallas in Carolina this Sunday, 1:00 game, and the Panthers are 2.5-point favorites. It took a long time, but there they are. And I'll tell you this too, I like them. I like the way that they've played the last couple of weeks, especially they've played good against really good teams too. Eagles, Chiefs. I think they're going to beat Dallas on Sunday.
And where is this game? Is it in
Carolina? Yep.
And
in
what
Charlotte.
What are they laying?
2.5.
I've actually bet on them 3 weeks in a row and covered. I might as well stay on the horse. I might as well just go there with you and do it. I hope they beat Dallas.
Keep riding, baby. Let's go. Good for the Panthers. Arizona rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. hasn't dropped a pass since week 1. That's all fine and good. They've also barely thrown him passes during that time too. Like, can they get him more involved? I mean, geez, throw it to him more, so that maybe who cares if he gets a few drops. They're 6.5-point favorites at home against the Patriots on Sunday in Arizona. So I know that Arizona's been sliding the last few weeks. Nothing can cure you like the Patriots coming to town.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
a game. That's a game they got to win by 10. That's just got to be inevitable.
Now, this next story, when I saw the headline, I thought this was going to interfere with the Steeler game, but no. It's for the Texan-Raven game. The NFL extends the Christmas halftime for the Beyonce performance, which will be in Houston for the Texans and Ravens. Instead of the standard 12 minutes and 50 seconds, 20 minutes Beyonce gets to play during Christmas Day halftime of that second game of the Christmas.
We should all be entitled to watch and look at Beyonce for 20 minutes on a Christmas Day. That is the perfect elixir for your Christmas Day, to be able to spend a few quality minutes with Beyonce. I think is a valuable experience, not only for the adults, but also for the young children.
No question about it. And finally, the NFL is going to consider using replay assist for face mask penalties and other plays out there. I actually kind of like the replay assist because it moves things along in a little bit more of a quicker fashion, that replay assist that they've been using recently.
Well, I think it also behooves them to use it based on the fact that I saw Joey Silk have his head taken off the other night in Dallas in front of every ref, and they didn't call it.
And that's the third time that's happened to Burrow this year that it wasn't called. That's the third time he's had his head ripped off with a face mask that they've missed.
They don't care about him.
They do not. They do not care about him.
Mahomes gets that treatment.
He gets a lot of treatment, Patrick Mahomes. He does get that. There's no question. There you go. NFL, big weekend ahead. You got more NFL this hour with Adam Kaplan. So you have all that bust a cap in your ass and all that stuff going to go on later on. Okay, how about hockey quickly?
Everybody loves hockey.
Before we do all the college football and Belichick after this. Rangers beat the Sabres last night 3-2. Somebody had to win. And the Rangers did. The Senators beat the Ducks 5-1. So nice job by them as well. The best teams in the NHL this year, on the money line, where this has now become a weekly, we moved the NHL in now that college football is over. The Capitals, 11.9 units, more than double the next team. How about that for them? The Jets at 5.8, Wild at 5.1 units. The worst are the Predators, and they are, miles away from everyone. 17.4 units if you've been betting on Nashville. God, that's awful.
I think Bruno's going to get fired any day now.
I don't think
awful.
so.
They're
I
awful.
don't think that he's going to be the blame. I think that him
Who
and
do they
Barry.
blame?
I think that Barry and Bruno will go with the plan that I think they wanted to before they got splashy with Stamkos and Marchessault, and I think you might see them try to get rid of the pieces that they brought in over the summer and scrap it.
The Washington Capitals and the Devils would argue against how the demise has been reported of the Metro Division. There's no denying that there's been problematic teams in that division that stink, and mine's one of them. Yours is one of them. Mafia's is one of them, which they're a Stanley Cup favorite. You heard Elvis say he picked them to win the Stanley Cup, and they're a disaster.
Yeah.
And they barely won last night. But the Capitals and Devils have been good. They've been good. And the Capitals have been better than good. They've been really good.
They have been excellent, the Capitals so far. Over and under, the Blue Jackets play all the overs, 19-8-1, along with the Panthers, Avalanche, Canucks, Islanders, and Capitals. Under teams, it is the Predators. That's because they suck. That's right. They lose so much that they also play every game to the under, the Nashville Predators. They've been so bad.
I don't understand the Kings, Leafs, and Devils other than that they're clamping down on teams and not letting them score.
Right. Well, that's the Kings game. I can understand the Kings being up there. The Kings play a tight game. And they've got one of the best records in the league, but they play low-scoring games. And they beat, like the other night at the Horse Track, they won 3-1. That's a King game. That's the kind of game that the Kings want to live in. And they've been very good at that so far this year. So sometimes you're there because you can't score, and sometimes you're there because you're real good and you shut the other team down. We have a lot of games tonight. A ton of games tonight. Let's go here. The Ducks, after losing in Ottawa last night, are in Toronto against the Leafs tonight. You talk about heavy lumber. The Lumberyard game of the night. I got this now at minus 450 for the Leafs in this game. The Penguins are in Montreal against the Canadiens. The Kings are at the Rock against the Devils, so good one there. Wings are in Philadelphia, and the Capitals are in Columbus against the Blue Jackets.
Well, look, I like the Capitals to win that game easily. Not only that, I'd money line it. I'd puck line it. I think I bet against the Flyers the other night. I'm not doing that tonight. Mishkov and company, give me the Flyers on home ice. I'll take the Kings 6-game streak in the Rock to beat the Devils. I think the Canadiens will beat the Penguins at the Bell Center because the Penguins suck, and they've always had trouble with the Canadiens, believe me you. And I like the Leafs on the puck line to absolutely rake the Ducks. Look what the Senators did to them last night. What do you think Toronto's going to do to them tonight? It's going to be the same thing all over again.
Man, the heavy lumber game right there. I have 2 more racks of hockey games for this evening that we'll have to do when we come back. And then we have some college football things. We have really one good college basketball game tonight. I have some baseball notes to go over as well. And you have Adam Kaplan. It's very busy this last hour of Coast to Coast. There's a lot to do.
Is that Army-Navy game Saturday?
Yes, it is. Army-Navy's this Saturday down at the Dump in Landover is where they're playing that game.
They've done a terrible job promoting that. I haven't seen it once.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Walked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, we've got more racks of ribs, otherwise known as NHL games, to worry about.
We certainly do. Here we go. The horse track tonight for the Islanders is they will have the Blackhawks in town. God, they can't beat the Blackhawks. I mean, please. The Sharks are in St. Louis against the Blues. Nashville, who we just tore apart, they're in Dallas against the Stars. Vegas is in Ferrellapeg. Edmonton and Minnesota, good game tonight.
Yeah, I like the Wild at home. Thank you very much. They've been phenomenal. First place team. Jets have finally turned it around. The other night they win 8-1 over Boston. Great pick we had there with Boston losing by 7 goals. So I'm going back to the Jets. Dallas at home over the Preds. The Preds stink. That's it. They suck. And the Blues at home, I like the way they've been playing actually under Montgomery after he got fired in Boston and got hired 3 days later in St. Louis, where it all started for him and he cut his teeth. And I think the Islanders win at the horse track tonight over the Blackhawks. Unlike the Rangers, who couldn't beat them and lost to them 2-1, the Islanders won't suffer the same fate.
Let's hope not. Utah is in Colorado against the Avalanche tonight. Tampa is in Calgary as they're still in Western Canada. Florida is also in Western Canada. They're in Vancouver this evening. And Boston, who we just discussed, they are in Seattle against the Kraken.
Yeah, this is, Colorado with the way Rantanen's been playing, 6-point night the other night. They're going to kick Utah's ass at the Ball Arena. I like Tampa in Calgary. I like Florida in Vancouver. And I like the Kraken at the Climate Pledge over the Bruins, believe it or not.
There you go. That is your night in hockey.
Everybody loves hockey.
For everybody does love hockey. All right. Of course, all the talk has been Bill Belichick going to Chapel Hill. He is now officially the new head coach at North Carolina. Let's hear him from earlier today, Scotty, and then I will give you some of the particulars of his contract, which just a few moments ago is now being washed all over social media. So here is Belichick being introduced as the new HC of UNC.
I've always wanted to coach in football, coach in college football, and it just never really worked out. Had some good years in the NFL, so that was okay. But
guess.
this is really kind of a dream come true. I grew up in college football with my dad. As the coach at Navy for 50 years, so as a kid, all I knew was college football, and so it's great to come back home
Great
to Carolina.
Job by the camera guy there, and, bouncing like a basketball.
Back in an environment that I really grew up in. When you're little, you don't remember everything. Obviously, I was too young to remember a lot of things from Carolina, but as I grew up, you hear the same story over and over and over and over again, and so. One story I always heard was Billy's first words were, "Beat Duke."
That is just epic.
He better beat them
today. Look, he was great today. At one point, he was like, "You know how much I love doing these press conferences," because he was talking too much, and he said, "I got really long answers because you know how much I love doing this." And I just thought he was great. He's great on TV. He's incredibly. Gifted at talking football. Like when he tells football stories, he does it better than anybody. When he breaks down film, he does it better than anybody. He does it better than Nick Saban, who also I think is pals with him and jealous of him in the sense of he's on another level. He is on another level. I think Saban's the greatest college coach we've ever seen in our generation. But you have to understand, for my money, let's not forget some of the greats. Rockne and Bear Bryant, and it goes on and on. I saw with my very own eyes several of them, like Joe Paterno, and you and I saw Lou Holtz. There's been great coaches. I thought Dan Devine did a great job at Notre Dame. There's been a million great coaches. This guy's, for my money, the best pro coach we've ever seen. And I don't care what anybody says. He's very articulate, funny. I think he can be great. In front of cameras and in front of the media when he wants to be. He can be a complete asshat in front of him. He can be a mean guy in front of him. But I will tell you one thing with certainty. He is going to teach these kids how to play football like they have never been taught before in their life. If you play for this guy, now you have to understand, I was around Bob Knight for 5 years, and I've known him until his death. And I got to tell you, I've never seen anyone teach more than him. No one even came close to teaching basketball the way that guy taught basketball. And he was also the smartest man I was ever around in my life. I used to think Howard Cosell was the smartest guy I've ever seen in the room. I'd put Bob Knight in there. I'd put Bill Belichick in there. I think Bill Belichick will do great things for kids at North Carolina, albeit winning. I don't know. Is he going to win? I don't know. Is he going to win titles? I don't know. I doubt it. But is he going to teach them something about football they've never learned and something about life? That is with certainty. I think it's a great move by the school and by their athletic department, and I think that it will be a benefit to all involved in spades.
This is a 5-year deal worth $10 million per year, but the last 2 years of the deal are not guaranteed. Only the first 3 years of his contract are guaranteed. Other things that are in here. He's got a lot of bonuses for 10-plus wins. He's got a lot of bonuses for making the college football playoff. He's got a lot of money for assistant coaches, a $10 million pool there. He does have to glad hand with some donors, it says in here. So, unfortunately, I know he probably isn't going to want to do that, but he's got to go shake some hands and kiss some babies. Now, there is a buyout here. If he leaves without cause, before June 1st of 2025, he's got to pay them $10 million. But after June 1st of 2025, now that's before he even coaches a game. Remember that. It is $1 million the buyout. He can leave North Carolina after 1 year for $1 million if he wants to. That's it. So really, he can get out of that deal fairly quickly if it doesn't work out for him.
Honestly, Mike, what's the point? If you commit to something, you do it. I came here. I like SportsGrid.
Yeah.
I love SportsGrid. I've lived up to, all of us have lived up to doing our best, doing great things, seeing this network grow from the jump and busting our asses every day. Whether anyone believes that or not, it's true. This guy needs to live up to something like he always did in New England. Go do the job and no leaving and being a pussy.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a challenge. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddiers, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Mike, have you seen one ad for Army Navy Saturday? Literally, I haven't.
Not now you mention it, not many, to be quite honest with you. And I don't know if that's because all the college football focus has been so big on this new 12-team playoff or Bill Belichick the last 48 hours coming to college football. I don't know what it is, but you're right. It hasn't had as much gas as it usually does. And both teams are really good this year. Army went 11-1 and won the American Conference last week, beating Tulane. Navy went 8-3 this year, and they were ranked at 1 point before they got hammered by Notre Dame. They are at the dump in Landover on Saturday for a tradition unlike any other. The Army-Navy game, -6.5 for Army, with a total of 39.5. I got it up for a point from this morning at 38.5. I got 39.5 right now.
I mean, honestly, I don't want to do 250 for anybody, but I think they'll win the game, Army. That number scares me at 6.5 against Navy because they're both really good. I do think Army's better than Navy this year, hands down. I've seen Navy lose some ugly games. Those 3 games they lost were relatively ugly. And I've seen Army absolutely look fantastic. So I think it's Army for me. But that number's crazy. In this war, you're going to lay 6.5. I know they've won the last 2, but 6.5 scares the hell out of me.
That's a very big number. And when it comes to the total, as you know, unders are always in vogue for these service academy games. Since 2005, the unders hit at an 81% clip. I mean, 81% of the time in the service academy game that goes under. 65% of the money, of course, is on the under this week. Which is now, like I said, gone up to 39.5. What started at 40, moved down to 38. Now it's back up to 39.
Yeah, I'm still under, and I'm still Army to win that game. Like, if I had to, I'd probably bet the money line for Army to win the game.
You did send me, so there you go, Army-Navy coming up on Saturday for you. You sent me the Michigan and Ohio State schedules this morning for next year. And I think the only reason why you sent them to me is because if you flash them up, they're really fast. And I know that we do have these. Here you go. Here's Michigan's schedule, and you can put Ohio State's right after it. If you notice, there's a team that's not on either schedule next year. And that team happens to play. That's exactly why you sent it to me, because I don't see Indiana on either Ohio State or Michigan schedule next season.
That's exactly why I did it. No other reason. There was only one reason to do it, was Indiana's not playing either one of those bums. And they had to beat Michigan. They barely did. And then Ohio State kicked their ass. They had a bad day in Columbus. I don't want to play Ohio State. I don't even want to play Ohio State in Bloomington. But listen, I honestly believe it'll be interesting to see what Cignetti does moving forward. He got an 8-year deal now and all this money at $8 million a year. Is that what he's making? I think it is. And he's, talking about they're just going to have a new superpower in Bloomington. I think it'll be very tough to, replicate what they did this year, going 11-1. I do not believe they're going 11-1 next year for 1 minute, but they don't have to play Michigan and Ohio State, and that helps them a great deal.
But despite not playing either of them next year, I will tell you, their schedule next year in the Big Ten is more difficult than this year's. I feel. Now, I know they went to Columbus, that stuff. They go to Oregon next year, so they go to Otts in Indiana. They also go to Penn State. State, Happy Valley. They go to Iowa to see the Hawkeyes. So I think their road, they can, but their road schedule is tougher. They play Illinois at home next year. I think that overall, aside from the one really heavy game they had with Ohio State, they've got some more challenges throughout the schedule. Now, they're out of conference. Old Dominion, Ferrall State, and Indiana State is their out-of-conference games next year.
Okay,
so they should get off to a nice 3-0 start.
Alabama's with their wussy-ass out-of-conference schedule? I don't want to hear it. All I know is they said that Indiana didn't play anybody, but that's not true. They beat everyone in front of them, and now next year they're going to play all these tough Big Ten games. And you're telling me playing Ohio State and Michigan wasn't tough this year? And what they did, they played Nebraska. They played all these teams. Listen, Indiana does what they have to do. I think they're on the map now as a football program. They're on the map. Let's see what they do with it moving forward. I want to see what this guy does with all the money they've given him. They've given him power and money now. Let's see what he does with it.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddies, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Kaplan is our NFL insider. He's very popular. He's covered the NFL for almost 30 years now, and he's been on Coast to Coast with us for over 5 years, styling. You can follow him on X at Kaplan NFL. He's on the take for the Philadelphia Eagles, who are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday at the Link. I'm considering driving down to the game incognito, and he is completely a homerized milquetoast for the Eagles, embroiled in all of their controversies and players hating each other.
Yeah.
But we don't start with that. Later in the second segment, we'll do Bust a Cap and Yo Ass, very popular segment with the fans when he does all of his spread picks. But we start always with Thursday night intel, and it's at Stonewashed Denim Jeans in Santa Clara, California at Levi's. It's the Niners and the Rams, and there's a lot of news on this one.
Yeah, let's start with the visiting team, the Rams. Now, historically, they haven't played well there, but they're the healthiest of the two teams. So one corner is going to be out, Kobe Durant. He's got a chest injury. The problem is there's just not enough time on a short week. And it's a shame. Tyler Higbee, if you remember, he tore an ACL late last season. He's close, but they're on a short week here. He's been out all season. He got hurt last December. So the hope is he can return next week. So they're not going to have him. And he's such an underrated tight end, but they're not going to have him tonight. Now, for the 49ers, Isaac Guerendo, the rookie out of Louisville, I actually met Isaac last summer. He's got a very lightly sprained foot. They think he's going to be able to go tonight, but the question is, how long could he go? Could he play a ton of snaps? That they're not going to know until they get into the game and he gets through pregame warmups. Now, if anything happens, it's Patrick Taylor, who played in this zone scheme that they run with the 49ers. He played in with Green Bay. He'll back him up. And Izzy Abanikanda, who was a draftee of the Jets, he'll be the third-string running back. Now, the good news is they're going to get Aaron Banks back, who's their left guard, from a concussion. He had missed the last 2 games. He's back. Ben Barch, who was filling in for him, has a high ankle sprain. He got put on IR today. But the big news is, Scott, this is great news for them. Drake Greenlaw, you might remember, anyone who watched the Super Bowl, he was running back onto the field. He tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl. Well, guess what, folks? He's finally back for this game today within the last hour, and he's going to play tonight. That's a big story and a great sort of good news story for the football team. A Niners team that, as you know, has been besieged by injury on both sides of the football. But getting Greenlaw back tonight, that'll help. We should also add Trent Williams will not play tonight. He'll miss his 4th straight game. He had the personal tragedy in his family, unfortunately, also, and the ankle injury. So he's going to miss now 4 games. And Jalen Moore, who's a 4th-year player, will fill in for him.
Wow. And everyone knows that they're desperate to win out. If they have any hope at all of getting a wild card, they literally have to win out. Do you think that they can pull this off with all of their injuries and depth problems?
Yeah, they absolutely could win tonight. The Rams are so inconsistent. But if you look at the schedules, which I've done already, Seattle's in the driver's seat. It's not just that they have 8 wins. They're playing the best football of that division. The Cardinals have fallen off like we all expected would happen. They got off to that great start. Seattle right now is in the driver's seat for the NFC West. I would agree with your assessment. The Niners pretty much going to have to win out to win that division. And even then, it's not a guarantee because Seattle's got a pretty favorable schedule here. But the Niners, they lost too many games they should have won. But they got to get the job done for the final quarter of the season, and it starts tonight.
Isn't it funny how everyone's favorite team to bet on for the Super Bowl was the San Francisco 49ers, just like every year, and everyone bet all their money on the Niners, and they're not getting anywhere near the Super Bowl. They're going to be scalping tickets like the rest of us.
Yeah, look, McCaffrey being out, okay, they're on a 3rd-string running back who's a rookie in Isaac Guerendo. Brandon Ayuk, who had the hold-in, he has 1 good game, then suffers a devastating knee injury. George Kittle's missed time. Offensive linemen have missed time. Nick Bosa, who's outstanding, has missed time. He's had this hip oblique injury for several weeks. We mentioned Drake Greenlaw is playing his 1st game of the season tonight. They've had problems with Hufanga with his injuries. So injuries have besieged the season. And Brock Purdy, I give this guy credit. He had that bad right shoulder, but he's played through it. And you know Brock Purdy needs to finish out well because he's up for a contract extension after the season.
Oh, he's getting that. Remember when they used to talk about him? He makes no money at all, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfair.
Yep.
He can't even pay his rent, blah, blah, blah. Now we'll see how funny it is when he has earned that contract. He's going to get the bag. You can count on that. What has been the reaction, Adam, to Bill Belichick getting the North Carolina job. We've talked extensively about it here on Coast to Coast today, but we want to hear it from your end and from the league's end.
Right. Yeah, Scott, this is one in my 27 years to cover the National Football League. I'd have to go back. Of the three biggest surprises, this is certainly top three, maybe the biggest one. So guys just don't believe it. I know some coaches have worked for Bill in the past. So Monday morning, it sounded like it was going to happen. If you would have asked me last weekend, I'm like, come on, this can't happen. But I know someone is connected to the Patriots staff, and some of these guys are going to be joining them. And it's just one of these situations where at 72 years old, nobody could believe Bill Belichick's going to go into a kid's home with the parents and sit them down. Hey, we want to sign your son Johnny to be our player on our football team. Just bizarre to me. And the thing that I think a lot of NFL people, Scott, have a hard time understanding or actually accepting is that nobody really wanted Bill as an NFL head coach anymore. Bill wanted a coach. Bill took the job that he knew he could get, the Carolina job, and it had to be done this week because with NIL and the transfer portal and the millions of dollars that are being exchanged to try to get players to go from school to school, and Mike Lombardi knows it. Mike Lombardi's going to be his GM, and it's crazy that these colleges have GMs, and Mike was with him in Cleveland, so they've known each other for over 30 years. The bottom line is this had to happen now. They couldn't wait. There are very few jobs open as it is, and Bill was not getting an NFL head coaching job. Though I do believe if he would have waited, at least he could have been in the running for the Dallas job if Mike McCarthy doesn't return, because Belichick and Jerry Jones know each other. And Jerry Jones has been very upfront in the respect he has for Belichick. But Bill couldn't wait. He had no idea if he was going to get an interview. The teams that are looking for head coaches now, they didn't want him. And that's the stunning thing. Bill does not have the reputation that he once had. Obviously one of the best coaches in professional sports history. But his legacy is, yes, he did draft Tom Brady. You got to give him credit for that and all the rings that he got. But he never won a ring without Bill, without Tom. Tom and Bill never won another ring together.
So what?
He left.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. He drafted him, and he won all those Super Bowls with him, but he never won without him. Listen, this guy is one of the greatest coaches ever. I'll tell you what. You know what the problem is that, now listen, one of the problems is that all of these NFL teams, bunch of idiots, because they hire all these hack-ass coaches that don't win jack shack at all, ever. All these young assistants and all these next geniuses and all of these, he's such a forward-thinking, what a revolutionary offensive mind. None of them can hold Bill Belichick's package, and they make themselves look like idiots. The fact that guy has no interest at all in the NFL, to me, is laughable. And I'll tell you another reason. Jerry Jones isn't even smart enough to bring him in because he's an old washed-up geezer himself, and he's going to keep Mike McCarthy in that job. And Bill Belichick's going to do great at North Carolina, and he's going to teach those kids more than anything they've ever learned in their entire lives. The NFL is egg on its face. What a bunch of morons they are. The way they've treated this guy that's short of being the greatest coach that ever lived in NFL history, that he doesn't matter anymore, is laughable. Yet every television network in the world has to have him on TV. What doesn't he do? Meanwhile, the people that run these teams, like these idiots at the Jets and Giants, they're the morons. And don't even tell me I'm wrong. Don't get me started. Do not get me started today. Howie Roseman isn't that stupid, and you know it.
Yeah, look,
don't even get me started. I'll have another heart attack.
No, we don't want that. But the bottom line is I can't wait to see how this works out. He needs a quarterback, by the way. I can't wait to see what he does with North Carolina. That'll be the storyline for college football this coming season. There's no question about it.
I look forward to our next calm segment where we do bust and cap in your ass with Adam Kaplan.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set, to you guys, I said there is one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin, back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddies, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koliks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro football today, only on SportsGrid.
Tell you honestly, Adam, there are so many awful teams in the NFL with absolutely wretched head coaches. I mean, just the worst I've ever seen. And you're telling me Bill Belichick couldn't help any of these teams? You know what it is? I'm right. These NFL teams are run by a bunch of idiots. They really are. I'm sorry, those are all your best friends. I got to be careful what I say. But as an outsider, you can't even argue with it. The people they hire, and like this guy Eberflus, what an absolute drip. I could have coached the Bears drunk better than that guy, and I have no NFL experience, and I would at least win a couple games. He sucked. What a joke. That front office is a joke.
Let me bring this up before we move on and get to the Bills and Lions game, which will be awesome. But let me bring this up. Belichick, and I'm a huge supporter of Belichick, but my issue with Bill would be this. The way it ended with New England, the Mac Jones situation, Mac Jones regressed significantly. He brought in the wrong coaches to develop Mac Jones. Matt Patricia has never worked with a quarterback in his life. He's a defensive guy. He had him be the play caller. Then he had Joe Judge, who never coached quarterbacks in his life. You can't do that. You can't. You got to know better than that. And that ruined Mac Jones, who's now a backup for the Jaguars.
Why did all those other teams hire Matt Patricia and Judge and all these other hacks and O'Brien and all these other hacks?
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Patricia didn't get hired. That was a mistake.
How many jobs has Patricia had since he was with the Patriots? Detroit?
He was the head coach. Yep, he was, and he got fired there. But the bottom line is this. Bill Belichick is the smartest football coach I've ever heard of. I've ever talked to his coaches about. People have worked with him. Smartest NFL head coach in the history of the business. But it did end well with him in New England. A lot of teams around the National Football League didn't like the way it ended, and they decided they weren't going to hire him. But I hope he gets the last laugh in UNC. I'll be rooting for him. He's a hell of a guy, hell of a coach. But again, I just didn't agree with the way that he handled it at the end of his tenure with New England.
All right, we got a lot to do and a lot of games to hit on Busted Cap in Your Ass. So let's get these injury updates and lineup changes for Bills Lions.
Yeah, there are two that's important. Donkey Kid, we keep talking about him. He's got this sprained knee. Now, they've only had walkthroughs this week because of the snow, but they're feeling he's pretty close here. He's missed the last 3 games, and he's so important to their pass game. Pretty explosive. Rasul Douglas, one of the starting outside corners, he's got a knee injury. We'll see what happens tomorrow. That's for the Bills here as they try to rebound after a tough loss against the Rams last week. And then the Lions, they're going to get Taylor Decker back, their left tackle. Unless something happens, he's going to be back for a 2-game absence. And like 2 or 3 defensive players that didn't play last week. DJ Reader's got a shoulder injury, but 2 guys, Onzaruki and Pascal, should be back in their front 7. So that's good. Again, they've been beat up defensively in their front 7, but they're getting healthier. And they're by the way, this is the healthiest they've been in several weeks on defense.
All right, Steelers-Eagles real quick.
Yep. Pickens is not going to play with a hamstring. We knew about that. Mike Williams is going to take over that deep passing role for them. And for the Eagles, every player in their 53-man roster practiced today, and they should get Reed Blankenship back, their starting strong safety, and they needed him back. And look, George Pickens not playing this week. That tilts this matchup. There's no question about it.
All right, it's time for Bust a Cap in Your Ass, where Adam goes through the litany of games and does his spread picks in the NFL. And there's a lot more games. Dallas and Carolina. Carolina is actually favored for the first time in 33 games, laying 2.5.
Oh boy, this is Ticket Broker's day off in Charlotte. I'll take the Cowboys. They're still alive for a wild card spot, believe it or not.
No, they aren't. Kansas City and Cleveland at the dog pound. Cleveland getting 4.
This is an ugly game. Kansas City keeps playing down to the competition. Cleveland, although they got handled last week, the game wasn't even close as it should be. I'll take Kansas City, but man, I'm worried about their left tackle position. They are struggling there.
Miami's at Houston. Houston laying 3.
Yeah, I like Houston to take care of this business, but Miami continues to underachieve. They should be better in 6 and 7. Houston coming out of the bye, they'll take care of business.
Jets at Jags in Jacks. Jets laying 3.5. God forbid.
Oh, another bad game. I like the Jaguars to handle their business here.
Yeah, they are so awful. There is no way. The Jets finally win a game. Washington at the Saints. Saints getting 7.5.
That's a big number. It's another one over 7. I don't like that they're getting that many points. But remember, Derek Carr's not playing. I like Washington to handle their business here.
Baltimore at the G-Men. G-Men getting 16.
Well, the Giants have a major quarterback problem. Ravens have been playing down to the competition, but I expect them to blow out the Giants here and actually take care of this, believe it or not.
Joey Burrow, Mr. Silk himself, had his house robbed. He's very upset with the media for the story getting out to the extent that it did. They're laying 5 at Smashville against the Titans and Nissan.
Tennessee is so inconsistent. You never know when they're going to show up, but I like Cincinnati to score a lot of points in this game and to take care of it.
In the afternoon, 4:25, Pats at Zona at the Toaster. Arizona's laying 6.
Yeah, and Arizona, this is a must-win game. They know this. They're not playing great football, but neither is New England. The Cardinals will take care of this one.
Indy at Denver in the Mile High City. Denver laying 4.
Like Denver coming out of the bye here to take care of business.
Buffalo at Detroit at Ford Field, one of the 2 games of the day. Lions laying 2.5.
Buffalo not playing well on the road. All 3 losses on the road. What a terrible loss last week. Although Josh Allen was unbelievable. Best game by quarterback all season. I like Detroit, who's getting healthier, to cover this number.
Tampa at the Chargers. LA laying 3.
Yeah, I like the Bucs, who are the healthier team. They got the healthier quarterback, and they're playing better football than the Chargers right now. I like the Tampa.
I'm going to do a flip-flop. and I'm going to give you the Sunday night game first. Green Bay and Seattle at Lumen. Seattle getting 2.5.
Yeah, I like Seattle to handle this one and actually win it outright.
And the only game that matters on Sunday for Philadelphia as the Pittsburgh Steelers march into Philly to take on the Eagles with all of their infighting. They hate each other's guts. Of course, the Eagles are laying a 5-piece. The Steelers have not lost as an underdog. 5-0. Does Russ get it done, or is it hurt in the Eagles?
Eagles cover it, no Pickens. They're not going to win it. Eagles will cover the number.
Of course. He's homerized milquetoast, Adam. Always on the take for the Eagles, this guy. Go ahead and have a sandwich. You and yours. Screw the Eagles. I hate
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a challenge. maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddies, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody loves leftovers.
We have a lot of leftovers today, actually. And Bill Belichick going to North Carolina was not the only college head coaching news. In fact, it wasn't the only college head coaching news with guys whose names you would actually know. Rich Rodriguez, Rich Rod, will go back to West Virginia, back to Morgantown, if you remember. He had that program really at its peak when he left for Michigan, and nothing went well for him there. Ended up going to Arizona. He got into trouble there. Had to basically restart his career. Just won that Conference USA with Jacksonville State, and now back in Morgantown with the Mountaineers. So good luck to Rich Rod. Yeah, but that can't be per year. No, I don't know about that. That's maybe the entire contract.
No way,
for Rich Rod.
No way.
No way. That's
some crazy number.
I did not see the numbers on Rich Rod. That would be ridiculous. UNLV hires former Florida and Mississippi State coach Dan Mullen. So Dan's been doing TV the last couple of years, and now he gets the UNLV job. So he's back on the side.
TV. With that Matt Barry going to college campuses on Thursday and drinking beer and eating wings.
I don't know why you would want to give that up. But
I kind of
it's
like
Vegas.
him. He parties.
So Mullen's now back in the mix with UNLV. College rack tonight. Only one game of any real significance, and it is the Iowa State rivalry game. Minus 5.5 for the Cyclones. They are at Iowa. 160.5 total.
I think they get it done in Carver Hawkeye Arena. I actually do like Iowa State.
How about that? I like Iowa State as well for that one. Baseball news. The winter meetings are, of course, over in Dallas, but there's a lot of things still to be done. The Yankees and Cubs have discussed Cody Bellinger, but who will pay his remaining salary is allegedly the sticking point when it comes to that deal. We shall see if that comes to its fruition.
Just pay it.
Just pay it. Why are you haggling over a couple $1 million? Just pay it and get it over with. The Yankees re-signed Jonathan Loáisiga to a 1-year deal. He has lots of health problems, but as Luke said to you during the break, he's got a new elbow, so I'm sure that he's going to be just fine. He'll be good. The Pirates. Now, I saw this story today before you sent it to me.
The worst story I've ever seen.
The Pirates are open to trading Mitch Keller, who they just gave an extension to. They actually opened their pocketbook for Mitch Keller before last season. And now that there was too much, they got to get rid of him. And Jared Jones, who's a great young arm, and why do they want to do this, Scotty? Every story said this. Money. It's always money. You've got Paul Skeens on your team, and you're getting rid of all the guys. What does that say to Paul Skeens? Paul Skeens got to be looking around going, they're already doing this? I mean, you got to be kidding me around here.
It's embarrassing. These are two of their top pitchers, and I think they have to keep both of them. I think it's absurd, this story.
I purposely didn't bring up anything today about the Juan Soto press conference in Queens that he had, because I'm sure tomorrow you could play some of the clips, and I won't be here to get all mad when that happens. So you can play some of the clips of Juan Soto
run the clips tomorrow.
putting on his Met jersey and Scott Boras with a big smile on his face. And finally, from me, Nate Diaz. You said it. He's having a bad day. Charged with battery over an alleged fight with a Vegas nightclub security guard. I'll say this to you, and you know that. We've been out to these places. You got big security guards at all of them. There's always big guys at the doors of these clubs. But you got to know when you're staring down a nutcase like Nate Diaz. Like, why are you getting involved? Like, I get, just please. Like, you gotta know there's some fights you're not going to win. And Nate Diaz is clearly one of those fights.
And they got video of him punching the guy and smashing his face in. Ferrall at finish time. Ryan Sandberg announces his prostate cancer is back and spread throughout organs in his body. He's in intensive treatment. That's awful news. OnlyFans model Lily Phillips cries after allegedly sleeping with 100 men in one day. Now that is a tremendous effort on her part, I got to tell you. I mean, that is just taking it to another level. Heavens to Betsy. Kentucky boy in a coma after jumping from a truck as his intoxicated father was driving to buy more beer. Kid jumped for his life, trying to save his own life. Sneaker thieves busted for stealing 300 grand worth of Air Jordans from a parked train. I like that effort right there. You got that planned out. Nice job. GTD is next. Get my app. Search Ferrall. It's badass. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on Coast to Coast.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have it. Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.